Discover how one heartwarming call on a forgotten phone transformed a billionaire's life forever. Timmy slammed the toolbox shut and wiped his brow, tired yet satisfied with another day in his small garage. Sandwiched in a dying Midwestern town, his heart ached for a life beyond fixing cars and mending fences. He thought of his mother, a resilient veteran who raised him alone. Her stories of sacrifice sparked a longing for something greater, a longing that remained unquenched as corporate giants overshadowed his family's legacy. One quiet evening, as the sun set and painted the sky in hues of orange, Timmy stumbled upon an old box in his grandfather's attic. Amid cobwebs and dust, a rotary phone sat, forgotten and out of place. Intrigued, he lifted the receiver, expecting silence. Instead, a crackle filled the air, illuminating the darkness of his solitude. "Hello?" came a voice, smooth, clipped, yet strangely lonely. It was Nick Reynolds, a billionaire chain-wrapped in his glass tower. In his lavish office, high above the city's troubles, a yearning echoed in his heart for genuine connection. Timmy's voice trembled as he shared stories that spilled out like oil from a rusty engine. "My mom taught me the value of community," he confessed, eyes moist with memories. "Now, it's just fading away." The words crashed through the miles, shattering walls Nick had built around his heart. Nick listened intently, each story weaving threads of urgency through his life of privilege. His own heart felt heavy, a stark reminder of the dinners alone in candlelit rooms, devoid of laughter or warmth. For the first time, he saw past the shiny facade of his wealth and faced the emptiness that loomed like a storm cloud. As their unexpected conversations bloomed, they birthed a plan, a community event to lift spirits and rekindle connections. Timmy's fervor, coupled with Nick's resources, felt like a spark igniting hope in their small town. But with hope came gossip, whispers curling in the air like smoke. "What does he know about us?" murmured the locals at the diner, eyes darting suspiciously toward the wealthy outsider. Timmy's heart raced as he realized the divide between them was more profound than he had anticipated. Still, they pushed ahead. But just when everything began to coalesce into a blossoming reality, a storm brewed, dark and threatening. Winds howled through the streets like the anguished cries of townsfolk gripped by fear and anger, raking open old wounds. Timmy stood at the community center, heart pounding, facing the reality of his dreams hanging by a fraying thread. Could a mechanic and a billionaire truly bridge this gap? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Timmy's fingers trembled as he grasped that old rotary phone, now a lifeline between hope and despair. The storm outside ripped through the air, but in his chest, a flicker remained. Could the very device that brought him Nick also hold the power to mend a broken community? As doubt crept in like the shadows lengthening at dusk, Timmy braced himself. Was this phone their last chance, or merely a relic of a time long gone? Timmy took a deep breath, his heart racing like a wild stallion. It felt as if the phone was pulsing in his hand, alive with possibility. Maybe this connection was the lifeline he and Nick needed to prove to the town that change was possible. With every thought that spiraled in his mind, he sat down on the creaky staircase, the chill from the storm outside mirrored by the fear swirling inside him. "Timmy?" Nick's voice crackled through the receiver, steady yet tinged with concern. "Are you still there?" "Yeah, I'm here," Timmy said, forcing a confidence he didn't feel. I don't know how to get the town on board, Nick." "Let us break it down," Nick replied, determination rising in his tone. "We start with the heart of the town, the diner. We gather everyone there, offer food, music, and a chance for them to voice their concerns. Just being together again might help heal the rifts. Timmy could visualize the diner filled with laughter, shared stories, and hopes rekindled. He imagined his neighbors smiling, joy cutting through years of weariness. "You really think they'll come?" he asked, skepticism hanging heavy in the air. "They will if you show them that you care," Nick urged. "I'll bring in the caterers. Let's turn it into an event they can't resist. The news will spread like wildfire." With a spark igniting in his chest, Timmy nodded, even though Nick couldn't see. "All right, we'll do it." As they ironed out the details, Timmy felt a strange sense of hope weaving through their plans. But, like storm clouds gathering on the horizon, doubt was imminent. What would it take to get his neighbors to trust Nick? The whispers in the diner echoed in his ears, a reminder that this will be both a challenge and a leap of faith. Later that evening, as Timmy surveyed the dimly lit diner, the weight of the moment hit him like a freight train. A few loyal patrons shuffled in, drawn by the promise of tacos and live music. Conversations turned like gears, initially hesitant but gradually warming to the sound of laughter. "Timmy!" called Anna, the diner owner, her hands clogged with flour as she wiped her nose with the back of her hand. "What's this I hear about a community gathering?" "Yeah, we're planning something," he said, his voice barely rising above the clattering of plates. "Who's behind it? That billionaire?" The word seemed to stick in Anna's throat, almost a challenge. "Nick Reynolds," Timmy replied, meeting Anna's gaze. "But it's not about him. It's about us, our town." The other patrons fell silent, eyes darting. Whispers filled the air, unsure, skeptical, burdened by the past. "Why should we trust him?" someone ventured. "They don't understand us. They never have." A tension hung thick in the air, a doorway into their shared fears. Timmy's palms grew sweaty. "I get it. He's not from here. But he wants to help. He believes we can be more." The room still held doubt like a vice. Timmy pushed past it, turning to face his neighbors with shaking conviction. "I know we've lost pieces of what we had. My mom used to say it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it takes a community to lift one another up. We need to extend our hands, just once." Before anyone could respond, the door swung open. The wind howled in a gust, carrying with it a familiar figure, Nick, coat flapping like a banner in the storm. He paused, taking in the room's tension, an outsider yet somehow intertwined in their destiny. "Hey folks," Nick said, voice warm and inviting. "Can we talk?" Timmy held his breath, partly terrified, partly hopeful. Would this be the moment that changed everything, or would it drive a deeper wedge in the community? As eyes turned to the newcomer, hearts held their breath, waiting on a precipice of uncertainty. Would hope withstand the storm? What Timmy didn't realize was that a simple conversation had the power to shift a fractured world, but would all the pieces align perfectly, or was there an unexpected twist ahead? The diner felt like a time capsule, holding on to moments of laughter and pain that had woven the fabric of their small town. As Nick stepped inside, he carried the electricity of promise, a faint flicker in an otherwise dim atmosphere. Timmy watched him move through the rows of brittle plastic booths, nervously adjusting his coat as if it could shield him from the weight of their collective scrutiny. "Thank you for letting me join," Nick said, slipping into a nearby chair. The air grew heavy with anticipation, every pair of eyes glued to him as if he were a ticking time bomb. Timmy could hear the distant sound of thunder, a reminder of the storm brewing outside as if mirroring the one inside the diner. "Why should we listen to you?" Anna's voice cut through the tension, the words sharp as blades. "You swoop in here with your money and fancy ideas, but do you really care about us? About this place?" Nick took a deep breath, his gaze sweeping over the hesitant crowd. "You're right to be skeptical. I'm not from this town. I've never walked in your shoes. But," he paused, letting his sincerity spill over, "I've seen what small towns can become when we work together. I want to help, not just with money but with something more important, hope. A murmuring swept through the diner, a swirl of doubt and curiosity mixed together. Nick's vulnerability startled them but also ignited a flicker of intrigue. He continued, "I want to hold an event where we all come together. Music, food, and real conversations, those things can build bridges. Let us weave back together what time has frayed." Timmy felt a rush of warmth emerging within him. Could this actually be the spark they had been waiting for? But a nagging worry still hung in the back of his mind. In a town steeped in years of division, would they truly be able to trust? Anna's fingers tapped thoughtfully on the edge of the table. "And what if we do this, and it fails? What then?" Nick leaned forward, his voice steady. "Then we figure it out together. Isn't that what community is for? It's the willingness to fail and to learn that brings us closer." The atmosphere shifted ever so slightly, as if clouds were parting to let in a glimmer of sunlight. A few heads nodded, and Timmy could see the glint of possibility in some eyes. Others remained folded in their skepticism, arms crossed, clearly unready to forgive. "Maybe we should give him a chance," said an older man, his voice gravelly but filled with wisdom. "But I want to hear from the rest of you. How does everyone feel about this?" The discussion ignited, voices rising and falling like a tide. Timmy's heart raced as he caught snippets of hope and fear wrapped together. He glanced at Nick, who was listening intently, ready to absorb every shared thought like a sponge soaking up water. "Timmy?" Anna's voice brought him back to the moment. "What do you think? You brought him here." Timmy stood up, feeling every pair of eyes shift to him. It was a strange sensation, a rush of both pride and unease. I think we have a chance to create something beautiful. It won't be easy, we'll need to meet somewhere in the middle." As he spoke, the diner began to tremble with the quiet murmurs of agreement, but he saw faces still caught in agony over old wounds. "But it will take work, trust, and most importantly, our willingness to come together again." With the wind howling outside, Nick whisking a few scattered napkins from the table like ghosts in the storm, a shared understanding began to settle. Nick looked at Timmy, an unspoken promise in his eyes. This was just the beginning. But just as hope felt tangible, a loud crash resounded from the kitchen, glass shattering on the hard floor. Silence fell abruptly, discordant and jarring, and Timmy's heart plummeted. "What was that?" Anna exclaimed. As they turned to investigate, Timmy's mind raced with possibilities. What obstacle had just presented itself? What would it take to pull everyone back from the edge again? He felt the weight of uncertainty close in like the storm outside, and a single question lingered in the air: would they be able to weather this storm together, or would it tear them apart once more? Timmy darted toward the kitchen door, propelled by instinct more than thought. The buzzing tension in the diner erupted into a flurry of whispers. He could feel the crowd shift, the air thick with a mix of fear and curiosity. Nick stayed close behind, his presence grounding amidst the rising chaos. Pushing the swinging door open, Timmy was greeted by a scene of shattered plates and scattered utensils. The kitchen staff stood frozen, expressions a mix of shock and confusion. The head chef, a burly man with flour dusting his apron, pointed toward the floor, where a large pot lay toppled, contents spilling out like a glorious mess. "What happened?" Timmy asked, trying to keep the tremor from his voice. I don't know." The chef stammered. "1 minute we were chopping vegetables, and then," he gestured wildly, "the stove just exploded." Nick stepped closer. "Did anyone get hurt?" His voice was steady, but Timmy could sense a ripple of urgency beneath it. "No, thankfully," one of the young cooks replied, shaking her head, her face pale but unharmed. "It was just a mishap." A collective sigh of relief echoed through the small kitchen. But as Timmy turned to head back into the dining area, he sensed the mood had shifted there too. Anxiety hung in the air like smoke, and he could hear anxious chatter as patrons poked their heads through the doorway, searching for answers. As Timmy re-entered the diner, he caught sight of Anna, her expression a mix of concern and annoyance. "Is everyone all right?" she asked sharply, her eyes darting to Nick, who was gaining popularity in the room. "How do you expect us to start trusting when something like this just happens?" Timmy took a deep breath, searching for the right words to bridge the widening gap. "Okay, look," he said, his voice rising above the murmurs. "This was just an accident. We all have our moments, right? It doesn't mean we can't move forward. But it feels like a sign," someone piped up from the back, their tone skeptical. Timmy couldn't see who it was, but he felt a knot tighten in his stomach. "Life is messy," Nick interjected with passion. "And it's in those messy moments we find our strength. This diner, this town, it's more than just buildings and streets, it's about us. Together we can mend the cracks." "Okay," Anna replied, arms crossed, still unsure. But there was an openness in her voice, a slight wavering that hadn't been there before. Realizing this was his chance, Timmy pressed on. "Let us not forget why we're even here. A storm might shake us, but we need to stand strong like trees swaying in the wind. We can't let a little setback convince us to back down." At that moment, the thunder split the sky outside, rattling windows and pulling gasps from those in the diner. A reminder that storms come and go, but strength lies in resilience. Some nods began to emerge in the crowd, and Timmy felt a tentative glimmer of hope rising. But just then, another sound sliced through the din, a ringing, sharp and insistent. It was an old rotary phone sitting on the far wall, forgotten for years. The sound was jarring, and all heads turned, the commotion fading to a whisper. What could it possibly be? Who would be calling now? As everyone stared at the phone, a new kind of anticipation filled the room, eclipsing the earlier tension. "Someone should answer it," Nick suggested, eyes bright with intrigue. "Maybe this is what we need to shake things up." With a shared look fueled by both dread and curiosity, Timmy approached the phone. Glancing back at the crowd, he felt the weight of their expectations settle on his shoulders. What awaited him on the other end? His heart raced, not just from fear but from the promise of possibility. Whatever the outcome, this was the moment that could turn the tide for all of them. Taking a deep breath, he reached for the receiver. Timmy lifted the receiver, the weight of it heavy in his hand. The sound of the diner quieted, each pair of eyes fixed on him, holding their breath in anticipation. He pressed the receiver to his ear, the world around him fizzling into a dull hum. "Hello?" he said, his voice wavering slightly. At first, there was only silence, a stretching moment that felt stormy after the thunder outside. Just as he was about to pull back and hang up, a voice crackled through, deep, warm, yet laced with an urgency that sent chills racing down his spine. "Is this the diner?" the voice asked, almost hesitantly. "Why yes, it is," Timmy replied, glancing back at Nick and the others, their faces a mix of confusion and intrigue. "I'm looking for someone," the voice continued, a hint of desperation threading through the calm. "But I need to know, is this place still what it used to be? A gathering spot for the town?" Timmy felt his heart quicken. "Well, we've had our ups and downs lately, but we're still here. Just like we always have been. The diner holds memories," the voice replied, softening slightly. "And I believe it holds answers too." Timmy could feel the air thickening, something magical about this call. "Who are you looking for?" he asked, curiosity mixing with hope. "Your father," the voice answered, and the breaths around him hitched. "I'm his old friend, and I have something important to share. Something that might change everything." Gasps erupted around him. Timmy froze, the revelation sending shockwaves through him. It felt like the ground beneath their feet had shifted. His father, who had disappeared more than a decade ago, leaving only echoes of unanswered questions and a void in his heart. "Do you really know him?" Timmy struggled to keep his voice steady. Maybe this was a joke or a prank, but something in the weight of the voice felt genuine, like it was unearthing a buried treasure hidden for too long. I've been trying to find him, the voice continued. He needs to know that family is waiting for him. That he's missed. All eyes in the diner were glued to Timmy, a collective heartbeat of anticipation and disbelief hanging between them. Timmy could see Anna's eyes widen, a flicker of something softening her earlier skepticism. A spark of hope ignited in the room, connecting them all in this shared moment. I need to know where you are, Timmy managed to reply, his chest tightening as emotions swirled within him. Please. I have so many questions. I'll tell you, the voice said, but it won't be easy. There's a reason your father left, and those reasons are tangled with my own. Once I share, you must be ready for the truth. Timmy nodded, even though the caller couldn't see him. Something powerful stirred in him, a yearning to dig through the unearthed details of the past. He couldn't back down now. Not when maybe, just maybe, his father had a chance to step back into his life. Okay, Timmy whispered, glancing at Nick, who urged him on with a nod. I'm ready. Just tell me. A crackle on the line interrupted him, a pause that felt like eternity, before the voice continued, meet me at the old roadhouse, tomorrow at noon. It's time to mend what was broken. As quick as it began, the call ended with a click, leaving Timmy breathless. The remnants of uncertainty spiraled back into the room, but mixed with excitement. What had he just started? What would it mean if he found his father? The murmurs of the crowd began to swell again, a confusing cocktail of hope and questions brewing amongst them. Did you find out who it was? Anna asked, her tone shifting, genuine curiosity taking over. Timmy took a deep breath, realizing this was far more than just a call. It was the doorway to healing, an invitation to uncover concealed pain and secreted love. He met the eyes of Nick, both of them existing in a shared understanding that whatever lay ahead could change everything. I have a lead, he said slowly. But it's going to take courage. Tomorrow could change our lives. The diner buzzed with the thrumming heartbeat of excitement, anticipation swirling like the evening storm outside, and Timmy knew this was only the beginning. What truths lay hidden in the shadows? What faced him at the old roadhouse? Tomorrow wouldn't just be about Timmy, it would steer the course for all of them. And the reality of what was at stake felt like it might burst forward any moment. Timmy clasped the phone tightly, his mind whirling with thoughts. The weight of the conversation hung in the air like the last hint of summer before fall swept in. He felt both exhilarated and utterly terrified. Tomorrow felt alive, tinged with possibility, all because of that unexpected call. As he set the receiver down, the muted chatter of the diner returned. Nick leaned closer, his expression a mix of excitement and concern. So, tomorrow at the roadhouse? You ready for that? Timmy shrugged, his heart still racing. I don't know what to think. This could be huge or it could just wreck everything. Anna, who had been listening intently, edged her way into the conversation. Timmy, your father might be closer than you ever thought. This is a chance to get answers. Don't you want to know why he left? The room filled with murmurs of encouragement. Old memories danced in Timmy's mind, catching fireflies in jars, the smell of his father's aftershave, laughter echoing during roughhousing in the yard. He nodded slowly, his resolve solidifying. Yeah. I do want to know. But doubts clawed at him. What if his father didn't want to be found? What if the reunion only opened old wounds? Timmy knew there was always a risk, but wasn't there also a chance for healing? The thought flickered like a candle's flame, flickering but bright. Just promise you'll be careful, Nick said, giving Timmy's shoulder a reassuring squeeze. Whatever happens, we'll be right here. Yeah, you're not in this alone, Anna added, her sincerity shining through. Timmy's heart warmed. A surge of gratitude flooded him. He felt anchored by their support, knowing no matter how the meeting went, he wouldn't face it in isolation. Thanks, guys, Timmy said, his voice thick with appreciation. It just means a lot. The evening wore on, and as plates cleared and laughter mixed with the clinking of cups, the nervous excitement remained palpable. Each minute ticked by like a slow drumbeat, amplifying the anticipation for what tomorrow would bring. Timmy watched the raindrops race each other down the diner window, wishing he could fast forward to noon. As the diner began to empty, the storm outside began to lose its ferocity. Timmy stood and turned to face his friends. "Let's call it a night. We all need to get some rest." "But you can't just sleep," Nick added, trying to lighten the mood. "You'll be tossing and turning like a pancake." Laughter broke the tension, and for a moment, Timmy felt a glimmer of lightness in his chest, a short respite from the weight of tomorrow. Timmy headed home, his heart thrumming in his chest. Alone in his room, he stared at the wall, lost in thought. What if the stranger was wrong? What if everything he'd hoped for was just a dream, a mirage that would vanish if he reached for it? As he slid into bed, exhaustion crept over him, but his mind wouldn't be quiet. Memories of missing laughter haunted him. With a deep breath, he closed his eyes and whispered, "Please, let this be real." Morning wrapped its arms around the world softly, casting a gentle light through his window. Timmy jolted awake, adrenaline coursing through him. Today was the day. He pulled himself from his bed, a sense of duty filling him. It was time to confront the past, embrace the unknown, and possibly reshape their futures. Yet, as he prepared to leave, a prickle of doubt started to creep in. Was he in over his head? What if the truth was too much to bear? As he stepped out of his front door, an unexpected chill ran down his spine, a slick, shivery touch that swept through him. What awaited him at the old roadhouse? And when he finally faced the echoes of his past, would he find closure or open wounds that could never heal? Timmy stepped out into the brisk morning air, the scent of rain lingering as it mingled with the fresh smells of autumn. The colors around him began to shift, leaves turning gold and crimson, a reminder that change was inevitable. He felt the weight of anticipation and fear pressing against his chest. This was at the moment he had both longed for and dreaded. He started down the road to the roadhouse, each step heavier than the last. The echoes of laughter and warmth from the diner faded behind him, replaced by the sound of crunching gravel underfoot. With every crunch, a fresh wave of doubt washed over him. Was he really ready for this? As he approached the old building, it stood tall yet tired, its paint peeling like secrets waiting to be uncovered. Memories of childhood flashed through his mind, family gatherings, celebrations, even moments of sadness. But today would be different. Today, he would confront the ghost of his father. Taking a deep breath, he pushed through the doors. The walls were lined with photographs, snapshots of lives intertwined within this very space. A place where stories were shared, laughter hung in the air, and tears were shed. Would his own story add another layer to this tapestry? He scanned the room, seeking familiarity. There was the worn wooden bar, the rustic tables, and the corner booth where he'd spent countless hours dreaming of what could be. But today, the atmosphere buzzed with an electric tension, thick enough to cut with a knife. Timmy's heart raced as he noticed three figures at the far end of the bar. They were deep in conversation, but one face stood out: his father. It was like looking into a mirror, the resemblance undeniable. Hadn't he imagined this moment countless times? Yet now that it was here, his mind spun with uncertainty. He approached hesitantly, and the closer he got, the louder the thumping of his heart sounded in his ears. Did he really want to do this? He hesitated, wrestling with the decision. But as he caught the glint of his father's eyes, something inside him sparked a flicker of courage. "Dad?" His voice came out quieter than he intended, barely above a whisper. The older man turned slowly, confusion washing over his features. Then recognition dawned, and for a moment, it felt as though the world had stopped. Timmy's heart pounded as he tried to gauge his father's reaction. Would there be warmth, or would the gulf between them remain? "Timmy?" His father's voice cracked with disbelief, and the emotion trembled just beneath the surface like a tidal wave ready to break. The silence stretched between them, filled with years of questions unasked, pain unspoken. Timmy felt a rush of conflicting emotions, an urge to run or to leap forward into the unknown. But before he could say anything more, footsteps approached from behind, shattering the fragile moment. A presence he hadn't anticipated broke through a woman with worried eyes and an air of desperation. "What are you doing here?" she called out, her voice edged with alarm. Timmy turned to face her, confusion blooming within him. Who was she? And why did her expression convey such urgency? The tension in the room thickened, and questions began to form like storm clouds gathering overhead. The confrontation was here, but was he truly ready for what it could reveal? As Timmy shifted between his father and the woman before him, a cold wave of realization washed over him. This moment could forever alter the path of his life. Would he unravel the truth, or would he stumble into a web of complications that could tear his world apart? The woman stepped closer, her eyes darting between Timmy and his father. A sense of urgency gripped the room, and Timmy could feel the weight of her gaze digging deeper than he thought possible. "It's important that we talk now," she insisted, the tremor in her voice a stark contrast to the confusion swirling in Timmy's mind. "Who are you?" Timmy managed to ask. It felt surreal, like he was watching a scene unfold in a movie. Nothing seemed real. He could barely focus on her words, his thoughts tangled with the sight of his father, a father he barely knew. "I'm Sarah," she replied, her tone softer but still edged with concern. "Your father, he doesn't remember everything, but you need to hear this." Timmy's breath caught in his throat. He turned back to his father, whose expression shifted from surprise to something that looked like fear. He opened his mouth, a shadow of words flickering behind his eyes. "Timmy," his father said, the name a choked whisper. "I wanted to tell you everything." Sarah took a step forward, her hands clasped tightly in front of her. "You have a right to know about the past, about what happened." Timmy's heart raced. Part of him wanted to scream, to demand answers, while another part of him remained rooted in uncertainty, oscillating between anger and hope. Did he even want to know? What could possibly stabilize the decades of confusion and pain? Suddenly, the memories came rushing back: summer spent waiting for a father who seldom showed up, birthday parties marked with an empty chair, holidays wrapped in disappointment. Instead of family warmth, his childhood was a patchwork of silences and absence. "Tell me," Timmy said with a firmness he didn't completely feel. The words were barely out before he felt his father's pain radiating like a tangible thing, heavy and pressing. "Your mother and I." His father paused, the weight of unfinished thoughts hanging in the air. Unwanted burdens loomed over his shoulders like storm clouds. "I made choices, mistakes that destroyed us." "Don't," Sarah interrupted, her voice firm now. The tension in her body spoke volumes about a past that Timmy could not yet comprehend. "You need to hear this. It's not just about you, Timmy." Timmy felt his stomach twist. "What do you mean?" "There are things you don't know about your mother, about the series of events that led to this moment." She looked at him with eyes full of empathy, but Timmy felt only anger for the secrets that seemed to stretch endlessly ahead. "Enough with the secrets," Timmy blurted, frustration spilling over. "If there is something I need to know, just say it." The air shifted, charged with emotions spilling from everywhere: confusion, regret, fear. Timmy's father looked smaller somehow, the guilt etched deeper in the lines on his face. "Please, Timmy," he said quietly, "I never meant to hurt you. You deserve to know the truth about who we are and why we are here." Before Timmy could respond, Sarah stepped closer to him, urgency radiating off her. "Just listen. This could change everything for you." Timmy squared his shoulders, resolve hardening within. He wanted answers, no matter how raw or painful. "Fine. I'm listening." Facing both of them, he steeled himself, preparing for whatever revelations lay ahead. The moment felt heavy as weeks of unspoken words hovered between them, waiting to break free. As they began to unravel the threads of his past, Timmy wondered if his understanding of love and family could emerge from this tangled mess. Would the truth provide the closure he sought, or would it open wounds that would never heal? The air crackled with uncertainty, and he felt like he was teetering at the edge of a cliff, waiting to see how deep the fall would be. The next words hovered on the cusp of reality, ready to change everything once again. Timmy swallowed hard, his voice tremulous as he spoke. "What's the truth? Please, just tell me." His father took a shaky breath, glancing at Sarah, who nodded almost imperceptibly. "Your mother," he started, a tremor in his voice. "She was different. There were things about her life I didn't understand, things I chose to ignore." Timmy felt a knot tighten in his chest. "What are you saying?" "She was in trouble, Timmy. Serious trouble," his father continued, his eyes now bearing a haunted look. "When I met her, she was running from something, and I didn't know how deep it went." Timmy recoiled, the weight of his father's admission hitting him like a blow. "What do you mean she was running? From what?" "She was involved with people who didn't care about the rules, who would do anything to get what they wanted. I thought I could protect her. I thought love could fix everything." His father's voice wavered, and guilt washed over his features like a heavy rain. "But I was wrong." The story spilled out a tale of secrets and shadows, of his mother's past life that had crept like a thief into their family. Timmy listened, aghast, as his father painted a picture of a woman caught in a dangerous web, one that led to their eventual separation. "I thought we could start over, that life would be normal," he added, his brows knitting together in despair. "But when she left, I lost everything, my will to fight." The air in the room felt thick, like a fog that swallowed light. Timmy wanted to scream, to throw the truth back in his father's face, but the shared pain anchored him. "And you never tried to find me?" His father hesitated, regret simmering beneath the surface. "I tried, Timmy. But I was lost. For years, I was trapped in my own guilt, my own shame." Timmy's lips parted, but no words came. A world of hurt fell into a heavy silence between them, punctuated only by the ticking clock on the wall. Sarah stood by, her eyes glistening, sharing an understanding that neither father nor son could yet grasp. "Timmy," Sarah interjected, her voice careful and gentle, "there's more to this. Your mother didn't leave to abandon you. What she did was complicated. There are people still out there who want her, who may want you too." His heart skipped a beat, a chill creeping down his spine. "What do you mean?" "Your mother made sacrifices to keep you safe. Even if it meant walking away from everything she loved," Sarah explained, her gaze steady. "But the past is not buried. It's alive, and it might come back to haunt you." Timmy's pulse pounded in his ears. The weight of risks and choices spiraled in his mind like a whirlwind dragging him into uncertainty. He felt a mix of fear and determination. "What do I do now?" he demanded, urgency gripping him. His father looked at Sarah, then at Timmy, fear etched in his features. "You need to be prepared. If they find out you're here, things could get dangerous." The room felt like it was closing in around him, and Timmy clenched his fists. His past was now entwined with something far scarier than he could have imagined. As pieces of the puzzle began to fit together, he felt the ground shift beneath him. "Tell me everything," Timmy said, his voice stealing with newfound resolve. This was his chance, a chance to find answers, to understand who his mother really was, and why his life had unfolded this way. But as the shadows deepened, Timmy couldn't shake the feeling that uncovering the truth was just the beginning. What awaited him on the other side of this revelation? Timmy took a deep breath, ready to face the impending storm. What else is out there that I need to know? Timmy braced himself for the revelations swirling around them. The room felt charged, suffocating with pent-up emotions that seemed on the verge of exploding. His father shifted uncomfortably, searching for the right words. "You need to understand, Timmy. Your mother had enemies, powerful ones. That's why we had to keep moving, why I lost you, he said, his voice heavy with remorse. What did she do? Who are these people? Timmy pressed, desperation clawing at him. Each question felt like a step deeper into a darkness that had loomed over his entire life. Your mother was involved in something she thought was for the greater good, his father said, choking a little on the words. It started small local activism, helping the needy, but then she uncovered something bigger, something that put her in danger. We both did. Timmy's heart raced as the pieces fell into place. Is that why she left? To keep me safe? His father nodded, the weight of his choices evident in his eyes. She saw the danger coming and thought she could shield you by leaving. I failed her by not being strong enough to stand by her side. Timmy felt an unexpected sting in his throat. Emotion swirled with the bitterness of abandonment and the longing for connection. And you? You gave up on me, on us? I fought, his father said, his voice rising with passion. But I lost my way. I thought if I just gave her space, if I waited, that she would come back. I didn't realize how long it would take her to surface, to keep you safe. Sarah stepped closer, her presence a constant reminder that truths can heal or wound. Timmy, it's important to remember your mother did everything out of love, she said softly. And she wouldn't want you to live in fear. But the fear is real. Timmy shouted back, frustration bubbling over. I just found you. After all this time, after questions built up like weeds, and now you tell me there are people who could come after me? What do I do with that? You fight, his father said resolutely, determination thickening his voice. We do this together. If we stand united, we can confront whatever comes our way. Timmy looked deep into his father's eyes, searching for the truth buried in that familiar gaze. You really believe that? We can survive this? I know we can, his father replied, strength returning to his frame. It may take everything we've got, but we're family, Timmy. We stick together. For a moment, time felt undone. The pain, the absence, even the gnawing fear dimmed against the warmth radiating from his father's words. Timmy felt hope crackle to life within him, fluttering like a freshly kindled flame. Then let us do this, Timmy breathed. Let us face the truth and whatever comes with it. As Timmy spoke those words, a sense of clarity settled over him. He glanced back at Sarah, whose eyes glistened with pride. This was not just about him or his father's past. This was about creating a future based on the honesty and resilience they were prepared to embrace together. He turned to his father, a deep breath filling his lungs. I want to know everything. I want a chance at healing, for us and for my mother. A mix of relief and gratitude washed over his father's face as the shadows began to lift. With resolute determination, he nodded, and the silence stretched open before them, making room for possibilities they never thought they could carve out together. As they prepared to share the story that would ultimately bind them, the air shimmered with renewed possibility. Timmy could feel the pulse of their connection, vibrant and brave. Suddenly, a loud bang echoed through the roadhouse, jolting them back to the present. Timmy's body tensed, instinct clamoring within him. Outside, a rumble of thunder shook the ground, a reminder that storms were still raging both outside and within. Stay alert, Sarah instructed, pulling out her phone. We need to be ready for anything. Timmy felt adrenaline fuel him again, as if the battle ahead was not just against the shadows of their past but also whatever threats loomed on the horizon. With every step forward, he could feel. His heart pounded in tandem with his father's resolve and Sarah's fierce determination. As they gathered their strength and fortified their unity, Timmy understood that their journey together had only just begun. Whatever awaited them would be met as family, resolute against the chaos and uncertainty. This was no longer about mere survival, it was about reclaiming the love and trust they had long thought lost, about tethering their hearts through the storms of life and wrapping them around the chance to rebuild what remained. With each step into the chaos, they would be transformed. Committed to facing whatever came, Timmy felt a burning resolve rise within him, a fire igniting step by step, promising brighter moments ahead. As the door swung open and they ventured forth into the storm, they did not falter. They were a family, moving forward together, ready to write the next chapter of their lives, the chapter that would finally ignite healing from their shattered past. Don't wait another second. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending you need to share with us. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.